Hey, Warrior Saints, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people in. Let me make my quick plug because I'm so excited. Our book, our first book is out for, it's available. You can get it. You can get softbound, hardbound, ebook. It's all out there. Visit warriorsaints.com.org. Warriorsaints.org/book. And get yourself a copy. We appreciate you sharing it with people. The response has been like truly overwhelming. I'm floored, really. I'm humbled and I'm thankful. So I appreciate you and all of those beautiful people who have ordered thus far. Today's a special day. Today we want to celebrate the birth of our fellow warrior saint, Greg. Happy birthday, Greg. Today, Greg is 47 years old. Just kidding. He's not 47, but happy birthday nonetheless, Greg. He's looking at me in the camera. He's shaking his head. He's like, you're just silly. Greg, we love you. We appreciate you for all that you do for the Warrior Saints. Happy birthday. God give you many more. We are really thankful that you are born or were born. That being said, we're going to transition that right into a birth. You know, in Scripture, there is a lot of talk about birth. And it doesn't always mean the actual physical act of a mother delivering a child. Birth is a symbol for newness, new beginning, a new life. And if you imagine the idea of a child in the womb, it's in one environment, one world, in utero. And when the child comes ex utero, it's in a totally different world, a different environment, right? The world it's being born, leaves one world and enters into another. In today's epistle in the Orthodox Church, we hear from the first epistle to Peter. And in his opening dialogue, he gives the address, the welcomes, the salutations, the grace. And then he gets, like in verse 3, he just jumps right into it. He says, look, I'm going to read it for you. Greg's going to pop it on your screen. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. By his great mercy, meaning it's a gift that he gave to us in his love. He didn't have to, but he did it. We have been born anew to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. So it's like it's a new hope, and we're born into it. Just like a child leaves the womb and comes into a new world, we're now born by God's love, grace, and mercy into a new hope. We've got a hope. And that hope is, in verse 4, an inheritance which is imperishable, undefiled, unfading, kept in heaven for you. So it is this promise that we've been given of this imperishable, unfading, splendorous, glorious, perfection that is promised. And we have hope in that, right? Like it's exciting. And you can say that, describe that however you want. You know, it's to get into heaven or live forever, life eternal, being in the presence of God, worshiping in the kingdom. I mean, there's all of those things that you can say that Peter's talking about here. We describe them, you and I describe them in many different ways today, but it is unfading, it's glorious, and it's a gift given to us, and we have hope in that. So in some sense, it's exciting. Look, I don't mean to be crass in this, but it's kind of like as if we were an infant in utero, and we knew that soon, at some point in time, we are going to be born into this new beautiful world and environment in which you and I live. You know, like in other words, if we were a child in the womb who knew what was coming, and we have hope just like that. We know that, like, yay, it's coming. I mean, it's going to be glorious, right? So this is I don't know what heaven's like. I have no idea. Never been. I'm praying hard and asking for mercy that I even get to go when my time comes. I don't know. But the point I think we all know is that it is far better and it is amazing. There are no words, right? That's what we say. As Christians, there are no words to describe it. And so we have hope in that. We want to go towards that. And God has granted us the grace to be put in line to head towards that. However, there's always a but, right? The next verse, actually a couple of verses later in verse 6, we hear, in this you rejoice, meaning this hope in life to come. Though now for a little while you may have to suffer various trials. So that for a little while you're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to endure. And in verse 7, so that the genuineness of your faith, which is more precious than gold, which though perishable is tested by fire, right? I mean, that's life for us. And so as I think about this verse and I think about like the chaos that is the world in which we live right now, You guys know it. I don't need to talk to you about it. I mean, I'm going to, but I don't need to because you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it's completely insane out there. The loss of sanity that we see it's demonic, and I don't want to be too voodoo about it, but the truth of it is it's demonic. There are things that are being pushed on us through big tech and corporations and media and all that kind of stuff that are just under the guise of certain, how do I want to say it? Under the guise of certain truths that they purport. Really, when we look at it, we're like, that's nuts, like insane. And how do the world not see that? How does the world not see literally the logical fallacies of what's being thrown at us? And I mean, there's a lot of good, don't get me wrong, but there's just chaos out there. And so as Christians and as warrior saints, we are starting to feel that a lot more, right? I mean, like, let's be honest about it. We're starting to feel it. There are things where we're mocked as being superstitious, archaic, stupid. We're being canceled, right? On like across social media platforms, for example. I know of literally countless stories where people have made a claim or said something about their faith or posted some type of a meme or something, and they have their account has been blocked or turned off or canceled. There are people who are, like obviously we talk about martyrdom. That's, thank God, not as prevalent today as it was in centuries gone by, but it's a real thing where people actually forget being canceled on the web. You're canceled from life, right? Like there's persecution out there and there is suffering out there, and that's great. And you may say, what are you talking about, Father Greg? What do you mean suffering is great? Suffering is awesome. I mean, it hurts. I know that. It stinks. I know that too. It's uncomfortable. It's unfair. It's unnecessary. It's all of those. I got it. But as we look at this verse from Peter, this verse, chapter 1, verse 7, the genuineness of your faith, which is more precious than gold, it's perishable, but it's tested by fire. And because in that fire is its own kind of birth. Do you understand that? Like, look, there's this great saying. I don't know who said it to give credit. So if I knew, I would absolutely give credit. But I've been seeing it all over that hard times make strong men. Hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and good times create soft men and weak men create hard times. And I think in very truth, we are seeing the fruit of weak men who have created soft times. And soft times, we mean comfort. Obviously, we have all these blessings. I mean, like, we're communicating and talking and commenting together and have a Warrior Saints community, and I'm in Arizona and you're all over the place, right? Like, this is beautiful. But in that soft, comfortable, weak times, weak men are born, and we create hard times, right? And so now it's time for strong men and strong women to stand up, because we're in the midst of hard times, i.e. the chaos that's out there. And it is for us to be born through the fire of suffering, right? And in doing so, we absolutely will change this world and absolutely will make a difference, right? Like I said it before, one of those things that we think about is that as we read history and literature of old, that the long line of heroes and that the last heroes are gone. And I would say to you, no. You can be in that line of heroes. All of you, every single one of you can be in that line of heroes. Like the line isn't done. It's not closed, right? Christ has called all of us to enter that heroic line and to make differences, to make a difference, to make a positive difference in the world, right? And look, not very many people want to do that. Let's just be honest, right? When we talk about strong men who create good times, safe times, healthy times, I mean, like, there's few of them. There's not very many. There's a lot more weak than there is strong. And so the call has been, hey, it's time for you and I to stand up and become strong men and women. Let's take these hard times and create good times. But to do that, you're going to face some of the trials, turmoil of suffering and all that kind of stuff. And so that's why I say it's awesome. Embrace it. It doesn't ever feel good. I know that, but embrace it because it means you're doing something. It means you're on the right path. It means you are a strong man or a strong woman or becoming one through the fire. And you're going to make a difference in the world. And that's all we really want, right? Like, as you look out there and you see the chaos, you're like, this is terrible. I want out of this mess. Well, you also want to make that different, to make that change. And I honestly think we can do it. I really do. I think this is why it's so glorious in some sense, that as we look out and see the chaos, we know that we're in that moment of weak times, difficult times. And now the strong men are going to stand up and make them good times, make them beautiful, peaceful times. But to do that, as I say, it goes through the fire. And as we go through the fire, it's a lot of work, it's hard, and it stinks. I want to encourage you. We're here to help you do that. One of the things that I'm so proud of in this book, The Way of the Warrior Saint, How to Live a Crucifixional Life, is that it's giving us practical tools and guidance on how to do that. Like, as I wrote this book, I was thinking in my mind, I mean, there are certain things in this struggle and this chaos that we're dealing with. How do we get through that? And the answer is obviously by living and thinking through a crucifixional mindset, God's mindset, right? Like, in other words, go get some through the fire. And if we apply that to everything in our lives, it works. And so I want to encourage you to join us. I mean, we're working hard in our own lives to do that, to live crucifixionally in all facets of our life. And the book is there to help us do that. That's why I encourage people. I mean, obviously, I encourage you to get it because I wrote it and it's fun and, yay me. Okay. But putting my ego aside, there's positive in it. There's good in it. And it helps us as we go through the fire. I want to end with this one. There's as I look out there and I see some of our competitors, if you will, others who are trying to teach men and women to be strong and make an impact on the world, what their systems are is that there are different components of the life of a man and a woman, of a human being. There's your family life, there's your individual life, there's your career, or stay at home if you're a parent who stays at home or a spouse who stays at home, your relationships with others, and then there's another component, your spiritual life. And in some sense, I understand why they say that, but it's the compartmentalizing of all aspects of our life. And one of them is your connection to God and following God and living his life. Our take is totally different because that's wrong. It's totally wrong. It's not that we have different components of life. We have a life that we live. And one aspect of it is certainly to go to church and pray and worship. And we call that spiritual. But it's that our entire life, every single aspect of our life needs to be guided by God's principle mandate to be crucifixional. So that is the top part, is that we are crucifixional in our lives. Now that we know how to think and act and behave crucifixionally, let's do so with our relationships with others, with our spouses, in our work, in our careers, with when dealing with other people and dealing with the struggles in the world. And also we're crucifixional in our worship of God. It's not that we're compartmentalizing all these things. It's that we're crucifixional. And that trickles down to all the things we do in our lives. Does that make sense? And so the point of all of this, it's not that we're just, we're going to pick and choose different parts of our lives at different times. We're crucifixional all the time, and we apply that to the rest of our lives. The Way of the Warrior Saint is a movement to help us do that, to help us, encourage us, strengthen us, guide us, teach us, to be there with us, to offer our arms so we go together arm in arm. And I promise you that as we go through the fire of these difficult times, that fire that St. Peter talks about in his first epistle, we will find that we are making an impact, positive, pushing, grinding unto the hope of that imperishable life that God has promised us. It's glorious if you think about it. And so with all of that being said, it's like, yay for the times, because men and women, real men, I'm not talking males and females, men and women are born in the fire. Warrior saints are born in the fire. And so as you enter the fray and you jump into the fire, let us help you do that. Do it with us. It's not even about us being better than you to help you. We're just doing it. So join us. Help do it with us. Maybe you'll help us more than we help you. We appreciate you guys. For info on the book or to join the Way of the Warrior Saint, all you got to do is visit warriorsaints.org. We love to have you guys with us. Very quickly on our announcements going forward, we will be off tomorrow, Saturday, and we will resume at 9 and 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Sunday with Orthros and Liturgy, and our crucifixional live stream will again resume on Monday. God bless you, beautiful people. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you beautiful lovers out there. I hope you enjoy the day. And until then, as always, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.